The Diplomat, 19th of March 2024, the positive aspects of Angola's recent visit to China for the G7. President Lourenco's visit coincided with discussions regarding the intensifying international rivalry between China and the United States in the southern African region. Angola consistently ranks near the top, if not at the top, of any metric about relations between China and Africa. Consequently, anticipation was heightened for President João Lourenco's official visit to China last week, which included stops in Shandong and Beijing, concerning the insights it might impart concerning Angola's 2050 vision. Furthermore, the president's vacation marked the second African head of state to visit China this year. The first was President Julius Maada of Sierra Leone in early March. As China prepares to host the 9th iteration of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation in Beijing, both visits serve as significant indicators. Furthermore, Lourenco's visit coincided with discussions regarding intensifying international rivalry between the United States and China in the southern African region, particularly regarding the Lobito Corridor project, which the G7 has been actively endorsing. Historically, Angolan international competition was primarily concerned with its hydrocarbon resources. For many years, Angola has relied heavily on exporting basic materials, particularly oil and related products. Conversely, the country imports most of its oil products from other countries, including the Netherlands. Nevertheless, an essential Angolan policy has been to reinvest a significant portion of the proceeds from oil exports in infrastructure, primarily via loans secured by natural resources and negotiated relatively amicably with China. The nation is attempting to diversify its economy following the construction of substantial new infrastructure. It is confirmed by the most recent presidential visit that China will continue to be a key player in Angola's strategic objectives, which are mutually beneficial. Diplomatic relations were established between China and Angola in 1983. After that period, 5 presidents of Angola embarked on official visits to China: José dos Santos in 1988, 1998, 2008, and 2015, the current president, João Lourenco, in 2018. This is Lourenco's second visit to China. It is the 6th visit to China by an Angolan president. Nevertheless, he is not a stranger to China. Lourenco has traveled to China on numerous occasions. In 2000, he traveled to Angola as General Secretary of the MPLA, the country's long-standing ruling party. He revisited China in 2016 as the president's special envoy and in 2015 as defense minister. A strategic partnership was formed between China and Angola in 2010, and Angola participated in the Belt and Road Initiative in 2018. Angola became the 16th African nation to advance its relationship with China to the level of a comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership during Lourenco's current visit. The enhancement was, in some respects, considerably overdue. China's second-largest trading partner in Africa is Angola, which also has a trade surplus with China of nearly 6-1, making it one of the few African nations to have such a surplus. Despite being categorized as the least developed country by the United Nations, Angola grants China zero-tariff treatment for 98% of its exported goods. Angola is also the leading recipient of Chinese loans in Africa, receiving approximately 27% of the continent's total loans from 2000 to 2022. Approximately 58% of the $45 billion that Angola has borrowed to date has been allocated to energy initiatives. Upon its inauguration in November 2023, the Dr. Antonio Agostinho Neto, Luanda, International Airport emerged as the most sizable airport ever developed by a Chinese enterprise situated beyond China's borders. A portion of Angola's outstanding loans were subject to a 3-year debt payment moratorium imposed by China during the COVID-19 pandemic, lasting until May 2023. Unlike neighboring countries like Zambia, which have turned to the G20 Common Framework for debt relief, Angola expeditiously attained this result by utilizing its bilateral relationship with China. In what ways does the presidential visit illuminate Angola's approach to the Chinese market? How might these dynamics impact Angola's relations with other nations, including the G7 members? Before proceeding, it is critical to specify that Angola's present approach does not constitute a complete departure from its previous one. It upholds the defining characteristics of debt-financed infrastructure initiatives and oil contracts. Therefore, A primary objective of Lourenco was to decrease guarantee reserves and provide additional credit lines for critical projects. The construction of the caculo-cabaca hydropower station in Angola was recently awarded to China Gajoba Group Company Limited under a similar contract. At over 2.1 gigawatts, it will become Angola's largest hydroelectric facility and Africa's third largest. The undertaking is anticipated to fulfill over 50% of the nation's present electricity demands. Infrastructure and energy will remain components of Angola's China strategy. However, in furtherance of Angola 2050 and by an investment protection agreement signed in December 2023 that includes a dispute resolution mechanism, the Angolan government wishes to investigate the viability of value-added manufacturing and processing as a novel aspect of relations between Angola and China. The Chinese embassy in Angola reports that despite over 400 Chinese enterprises in the country, the majority do not produce anything. The implementation of the new strategy intended to alter this is underway. Sonangol, the National Oil Corporation of Angola, and China National Chemical Engineering recently entered into a memorandum of understanding to secure financing for the finalization of the Lobito oil refinery. During the visit, Lourenco visited two health products companies in Shandong, a province renowned for its industrial and heavy manufacturing sectors. Shandong is home to numerous agricultural behemoths, including Hisense and Haier. Many of these companies have already expanded their product distribution throughout Africa. Certain companies even maintain operations in nations like Egypt. Lourenco's visit to Shandong may suggest an intention to persuade companies from the province to establish operations in Angola. Angola should offer Chinese and other foreign investors a significantly more enticing investment proposition as a result of recent infrastructure improvements, high anticipated returns from increased trade with the southern African region as a result of the African Continental Free Trade Area, the planned Lobito Corridor railway improvements, and returns from the Lobito port itself, presently operated by AGL, a French conglomerate. Renewable energy has the potential to be an exceptionally lucrative venture. According to a recent briefing from my firm, Development Reimagined, Angola's 4 gigawatts of installed renewable capacity is negligible compared to the continent's enormous potential despite the country's current prominence on the continent. In addition to 13 gigawatts of hydropower, Angola possesses more than 55 gigawatts of solar potential. With appropriate storage and transmission, Angola's renewable energy sector is a lucrative investment opportunity. Some are eager to portray the Angolan president's visit to China as a concern for European allies and Washington, arguing that the Lobito Corridor Agreement's principles are skewed in favor of the United States and its allies. Nevertheless, by establishing fresh agreements with China, Lourenco's visit may fortify the economic rationale for African financial institutions, including the African Finance Corporation and African Development Bank, to extend loans and make investments supporting the Lobito Corridor. This is in addition to European and American corporations. It is noteworthy that after the conclusion of Angola's civil war, the China Railway 20 Bureau Group Corporation undertook the initial refurbishment of the 1,344-kilometer railway. This undertaking spanned a decade, commencing in 2006, and was partly financed by a China Exim Bank loan executed in 2004. Angola's status as one of China's most significant partners on the continent has not been achieved by chance or hydrocarbons alone. Angola has achieved this through its prudent, calculated, and proactive approach towards China and other nations. Like the most recent visit, other African countries can learn valuable lessons from this experience as they strive to establish similar multilateral engagements.